Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 9 of the Smelly GOON1Es. I'm here today with RiddleDog, War, and our special guest today, EJ of the Ramshackled Roosters. So, new
Hello.
season. How's it going, everyone?
Good.
I'm
Season
vibing.
season 6.
We made
Also,
it. Made it
everyone.
past 5.5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. Everyone in
Uncharted
chat,
territory.
let me know about the audio levels because I was having some issues with the audio levels. So just let me know and I'll try to fix it if there is anything
I should have
messed
posted
up
an
with it.
announcement that we're
That's fine.
live because
Getting right
otherwise
now.
everybody won't be in chat, you know?
Nah, they know.
Nah, they are. It's right,
As
spreads too.
it's okay because the last time Booney said to everyone, use your Twitch Primes. Probably my favorite moment of the podcast so far is Booney screaming at the camera to use your Twitch Prime subs. But yeah. So new teams. How's everyone feeling about your team so far going into season 6?
Good.
Well,
We already
okay.
had 1 week.
I know,
we
that's
already
true.
we all won a game, so I feel like we're
That's
we're,
true.
we're a bit biased here. You
That's
know,
true.
we're coming in positive. We haven't had any like, defeat moments. We haven't been boomed yet, so I feel like take everything we say with a grain of salt. But me personally, I'm on a friend team for the first time
Yeah.
in like a while, you know. I mean, it turned out like the St. Michael Hawks was a friend team for me. I just didn't know them because I didn't know anybody going into the league. But I'm on like a pure friend team this time, and it's very vibey.
Yeah. The real friend team is the friends we made along the way.
Real.
I feel like our teams, outside of maybe Wars, I feel like the me, Riddle, and EJ, we have a lot of new players on our team. So I'm really excited to see like the Shoreline Pie and the Maverick and EJ with Casey Dunn and Why You Know Dad. I have a lot of rookies on my team, so I'm really excited to see them play. I feel like so far they've been doing pretty good, but I mean overall, like Riddle, how many rookies did we have this season?
I've got it up here.
It's like a
24.
almost 24.
24.
I was gonna say I thought it was 19. That's crazy.
Nope.
Um,
24.
so I just want to kind of start off talking about like first impressions of our team so far. Start with EJ here. EJ, what are you thinking about the Roosters?
Uh,
So
well,
we
I
were just
think,
talking about Casey Dunn and Why You Know Dad. What's your first impressions of your new rookies here?
uh, well, Casey Dunn, we haven't had much. I haven't gotten to play with him much, unfortunately, since we've had a bit of like availability issues.
Yeah.
Trying to get him to fit in for like matches and scrims, but he showed up last minute for our match, and that came in clutch for us. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think, Why You Know Life, I've been pretty happy with him so far. He's been playing pretty good. Good SR value for him for sure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
what
think
he's
he has
like
a lot of.
30, 50. Yeah.
I think the way I built my team is, I wanted a team that may not be as good at the start, but has like the potential as the season goes on to get better and better. And I think that's definitely what I've put together here.
Yeah.
I feel like I got a squad that has a lot of people who really want to improve, get better, and yeah.
I feel like
I
that's
also, I
that's
had
a
a question for you, EJ, about Why You Know Dad, because he is the lowest SR tank player, and it seems like he will be going in on tank like consistently for your team. Do you feel like you guys need a low SR? Do you think you need do you think you can win a championship with a low SR tank player, or because I feel like a lot of people always say you need a good tank player to win, and we've seen in the past that like it's primarily like high SR
Well,
tank players. I think.
last season we had Derek. We had Derek last
Derek's
season
the
who,
GOAT, though.
yeah.
but he wasn't high SR.
That was
And
I
then
remember.
Yeah.
Nathan at the time of the Red Pandas wasn't high SR. Then
I
you had
remember people were bringing that up
Ballers,
going into the
Salinas.
last season's playoffs. Is they're like, oh yeah, if Derek wins, then he'll break the streak of like the GM tanks. Because I think by the end of the Red Panda season, I think Nathan had hit GM, so it was still like
That was also the boosting season though.
yeah.
So
I mean,
I think for I think you can be very successful with like a lower SR tank if the right pieces around them are if you have like the right pieces, like that play around them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't buy into the low SR tank. The low SR tank theory, I guess. I've heard people say that before, and it's like I think
But
in
they
general
need a
it's
high SR tank to do
yeah.
well.
People were like, it's like you can't win a championship unless you have a high SR tank. I feel like that's really reductive because like part of the reason the high SR tanks are winning is because it's just like a very, very high SR good player. I think the only thing with that is that it's kind of a lot of the higher SR tanks have a lot of game sense and have a lot of shot calling. I think that's the only really benefit I could see to having your high SR player on tank rather than on DPS. Because like the Roosters have Casey Dunn, who I've heard like really good things about. I've heard he's a really good player, especially for his SR. So I feel like you can have a low SR tank as long as you have like good SR like other places on your team. You can't have a low SR across the board, but the way that the average SR works, I feel like as long as you have a good SR average like that, you could still probably win a championship with that regardless. It's more about the pieces than about like just having the one good team.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Why You Know Life also on console, he was GM as well, and he's making the transition to PC Overwatch.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
that was a big thing when I was looking at him. Was this is a guy who I definitely feel has a lot of potential for growth throughout the season, and if I can get him as like my sync for the team and have like a good core around him, I think that could be good for that could get us really successful results.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But yeah, we're gonna take it one game at a time. Just every game we play, win or lose, we're gonna have that improvement mindset.
Yeah.
That's what I hope to promote with my team for the season, and yeah, we'll see.
One thing I think about every time I hear someone say anything along the lines of that is I remember Riddle telling me season 2 after I'm sure Riddle will confirm this, after the Red Pandas lost to Tortuga Team 2, Riddle, do you remember what the first thing that I think it was Nathan said to your team? It was Mikey, I think.
Sully? Maybe. Whoa.
Someone
Was it
immediately
just that like it's like we need a can we VOD?
yeah, like right away they were like, we got a VOD
Yeah,
review.
yeah,
It's
Sully.
like not looking at like wins or losses, like looking at like where you can improve. I feel like that's like
Yeah.
a really big part of your team, and having successful seasons. It's like you can really easily take a good team and turn it into a great team if you just have that focus on improvement. And I feel like if the Roosters are able to kind of do that, I could see you guys getting a lot better by the end of the season. I know, like you said, why you know Dad? Why we didn't have a better name to call him because like he's the two names, and it's like they're used interchangeably. Your tank player has like you said, he's probably higher SR than he is on the sheet because like previously he's a GM. I also heard that Shoreline Pie on the flop is a former GM player too.
Yeah, former top 500.
Top 500.
I'm pretty sure it was also early season, so there's a lot of people like lower people that are able to get into top 500, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I know for at least I've heard really good things about him, and that's why both Sonic and I really try to get him a lot. Like he should be really high value at 3.6.
Yeah,
That's why I ended up paying 370K for him, being my highest paid for player. Excuse me. So
yeah, the flop
yeah,
was
I'm excited. It looked good the first game as well.
Yeah, your team is built really interesting, especially in terms of the SR. Like your lowest SR player being 2900 is kind of crazy, and then your bench player being Nort too. I feel like Nort slots in for a lot of. You can do a lot with Nort coming off the bench, like a lot of flexibility there. So
Yeah,
I think it's
I've only
pretty
got 4 lineups I can play.
I heard that too. It's because I think a lot of your
Because-
players are role locked, right? Like Maverick,
Yeah,
I know is
because the only 2 players that can play support is myself and Wiggle Higgle. Then EJ and Shoreline both can only play DPS. Maverick can only play tank, and then Nort can play tank and DPS. So we have our one without Nort in it for one, and then one where he subbed in for either Maverick, On Mall, PJ, or Shoreline.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
our 4 comps that we can
I remember during the draft, on the draft desk, we were talking about you specifically, Riddle, and we were like, oh, he's so flexible. He can play tank, he can play DPS. And I think we're talking about it throughout the draft, and then right after the draft desk ended, I think it was War was looking at it, and it's like, they can only run 4 comps. And I'm like, oh, so he can't even be flexible this season.
Yeah, I mean, I was
jail.
planning on it, but I didn't expect to get Purple Jesus for as low as I did.
Yeah.
With like Pneumonia or Logan going for like 260, I expected EJ to go more than 230. But he fell to me, so I'll take it. And then I didn't expect to be able to get Maverick, so for like, what, 8k right at the end.
And those are just like the 2 ulti Rollock characters.
Those are 2 of them.
Players.
Yeah. I was, like, almost every single one of them plans had Shoreline in it.
Yeah. So that's why you went so far on them. I feel like that happens a lot with people, is like, you get your one player you want, and you pay a lot for him, and then...
Yeah, I mean, I started planning really early, as EJ can probably attest to. I was playing with like Skysir and Sonic a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And like every single one of my comps had Shoreline. It's like just like subliminally, excuse me, because he signed up so early and he was like that low masters SR. They just sort of worked in a lot of my comps. So I just couldn't get him out of my head.
Yeah.
So.
And it's like, if you're talking about like other people like that have that GM experience at the 3-6, it's kind of hard to find. So it's like, I was looking at it after the draft, and he was one of the people who, like, for the Sheet SR, like, say whatever you want about like how high or low he can play, for the Sheet SR, the most amount of money was spent on him. I think the other person that like contests with that is ASC Design, who obviously picking him up on DPS, who is like 3.7, and you're spending millions on it, you know? So yeah. I also really like, I think you were the one raising, were you the one raising up on AST there?
I raised like every single ISR player.
Yeah,
I brought AST to 500.
I love that from you in the draft. But yeah, Shoreline Pride, like, lowest effective SR for a lot of value. If you're getting really good value players, that can work out. And I think you Wiggle and Shoreline, from what I've heard, are definitely like fitting that role. So
yeah, I think I'm also value at 3.8, so that works. Maverick has scrimmed. He like, because he is or was the tank for Mankato and their team, like playing with like Invictus and all them.
Yeah.
And he's like had practice in like GM scrims and just like been able to like hold zone and do well there. So I think they were able to do well with that.
All my rumors I was hearing was like, oh yeah, Invictus is just going to draft his buddies. Invictus is just going to draft his buddies.
That's what I heard.
Damn.
And I don't think he got a single one. I think he all got like, because he got like Nathan and Rusty Goomba and Poke. So I was convinced he was going to go after Maverick, and he went after Poke and Nathan and Rusty, and I'm like, oh, I guess he doesn't need a tank anymore.
I was very confused by 4 teams at the end of the draft. One of those teams being Invictus, because it feels like it's like forcing a lot of off rolls, and I don't know if Invictus's team has really got that solved yet, because it feels like, I mean, Cat Page obviously wants to play Ryan, but obviously is a great main support, so you can sort of slot in for both there. But you also have Poke and Nathan, who can be tank. I was even like, when I was doing draft prep, I was even thinking like, oh, maybe like Rusty could be a tank. You have a lot of players that can slot into the tank role. You have a lot of players that can slot into the support role. And Vegas is in a good spot because he's always able to play that DPS role on the team. But it doesn't feel like everybody else can really find rhythm if you're forced to make that many swaps on a 7-man team.
Yeah. I feel like their team is kind of a little bit awkward. It's like, I think they have a lot of good players, but I feel like I don't know if there's enough cohesion to have those like comps and everything figured out. But I feel like if there's anyone that would like go out and do the cooking and figure out comps and heroes and everything like that, it would be Invictus. Like, I feel like he's the type of person that would spend a lot of time outside of the scrim trying to like figure out what comps work and putting everyone on comfort picks and everything like that. So I'm sure they'll be cooking throughout the season. But yeah, and I guess my team too. I'll talk a little bit about my team. Like I said, we have a lot of rookies. I was like, there's a segue going into my team, and I couldn't remember what it was. I feel like a lot of people knew what Tommy Slot was going to do, going after Sandomi and Mardox, like his buddies. And I feel like everything else just kind of fit in perfectly around. He got those players for like a reasonable price, and then he was able to still get Fire Carter, and me and Capri Wolven and Pokemon Guy, the GOAT. And it's like I feel like everyone's SR just kind of fit, so he has like perfect comps he can run that are under SR, and it kind of puts everyone on roles that make sense. And yeah, I feel like our team has got a pretty good idea what comps they're running and everything like that.
Yeah, because you got 2 main lineups, sort of 3 with how you're able to like move Capri Wolven around.
Capri Wolven and Tommy are pretty good because they could just kind of sub in and out for each other.
Yeah.
I know we knew Tommy Slat from the Saoris. We didn't get to see him a lot on tank, but we did get to see him play a decent amount last season. But I didn't know anything about Capri Wolven, and I've been kind of surprised by how good Capri Wolven's comms are. Like it's anytime anyone that I've never seen or talked to before just comes in and has like these goated comms, I feel like that's always really surprising to me. And just having Capri Wolven that can like switch in or out for Tommy Slat is I think that's a pretty solid like 1-2 punch on the apes.
Yeah, the other thing is you have a lot of like very, very similar like 1-2 punches with that, in that like you and Pokemon Guy are kind of like that same flex, but Pokemon Guy, put him in anywhere, everybody can play main role, and you can just like stack the team with this Tommy, Sanemi, Fire Carter, Madrox all on like main role. The support line is like, I think what's really special when you do compositions like that, because you can get the Fire Madrox support line like
Mardox,
which is Mardox? Sorry.
Mad Rocks. Those rocks are so mad right now, guys.
In the cast, you kept calling Mardox Mad Rocks. And some of the other players
I know. I'm very bad with words. Sorry about that. But Mardox, it like that. They look so scary together, because it's just like, oh, Firecard is gonna keep everybody up and DPS, and then Mardox is gonna do the exact same. So you just have like 2 DPSs, and it's scary.
Pokemon Guy, I think it's the same position War was in last season, where he was calced at 1850. It's like, I feel like if Pokemon shows up to games, and as long as he doesn't feed, like, he's getting value. Like, 1700 SR is crazy low. So the fact that, like, he seems like he's very intent on improving. His mechanics are very good. He's just got to play the game more. And I feel like he has a really good basis right now, and he's like, really motivated. So I feel like we're talking about EJ's team earlier. I think I think he might be my pick on either most improved player or... what is it, like the bargain bin or whatever?
I mean, there's a lot of people to contest for bargain bin.
I know, like that's crazy. Yeah,
we're only into like past week,
but
one,
like
really, so we can't say most improved.
The fact that he's like 500 SR lower than anyone else is just like such a huge gap, and the fact that it allows us to run that Fire Carter Mardox support line is kind of crazy. But yeah, War, what do you think about being on the New Zealand Numbies?
New Zealand Numbies?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's totally. I mean, it feels like an agglomeration of like the Numbies plus Skies, and then like you know, I was kind of like slotted in to like potentially be on both of those teams, you know, but I didn't. The pick didn't pan out in that way, so they just added me in there. It's fun. I think the one thing that we should definitely be improving on is 1, our fight planning, and 2, just like our comms together. But I'll say this in a like way to compare this to another team. I think we're kind of like the Slouchers, but the reverse, in a sense that we have a lot of players that are, I think, going to be able to play over their SR.
Yeah.
But the only issue is we have a lot of under SR comms, whereas the Slouchers, especially when they completed their draft, they had a lot of over SR comms. They got the trade Sky for Corey, I believe, and then it started working out a lot better in their favor because they could fit a bit more, the SR is a bit easier. So I think that we have definitely a high ceiling. I still want to improve. I said it after the first match. I'm like, yo, I mean, we won easily here. I do not want us to get like complacent is the word.
Yeah. Speaking of the Slouchers, I kind of want to talk a little bit about some of the games from last week. I feel like the big highlight that everyone's kind of been talking about is the Slouchers versus the Sea Dragons. So like, I've heard a lot of people hyping up both of those teams. That game, the Slouchers came up on talk, but I'm sure EJ can confirm. I've heard a lot of Sonic Ronic Copium coming out of that game.
Yeah. He had like a lot of things going on that day, so when he got to the match, he says he was tired. So,
Yeah.
Because he is just starting college as well.
Yeah.
We have to remember, so.
Let's go, Sonic.
And that being against like the Slouchers are a really good team. I think the Sea Dragons having that super early, it's like you could be like, oh yeah, the Sea Dragons lost, but I feel like I still think the Sea Dragons are a pretty good team. I think they were number 1 on the preseason power rankings too. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like it's a hard opponent like to face like week 1.
Yeah.
So I honestly, if I were the Sea Dragons, I wouldn't be too upset about that loss. I mean, you made it close. It's map 5.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
And
I
then
think they still have. I think
Yeah.
from what I've seen of the Sea Dragons, I think they look very, very good.
yeah.
In the scrims and all that.
I feel like EJ, you're probably the one that has some of the most scrim bucks. I know you talk a lot with Skycer and with Sonic Ronic, and I'm sure yourself has had scrim. So, are there any teams going through the scrim bucks other than those 2 teams we touched on? Any other ones that you're kind of like looking out for? That you're a little scared of?
The Quails also look really good from what I've seen, even though they lost their match. I think they still have a lot of like. They still seem like they are a tier above like the rest. There's like for me there's like a few teams like the Sea Dragons, Quails, Purple Ape. Who else?
I think the Foxians are up there in my opinion.
Oh, Slouchers, yeah.
The Slouchers, yeah.
There's those teams that like you can like they have such good players, and like you can like when you can kind of guess they'll probably be towards the top or towards the top half.
Yeah, one of the patterns that I've kind of noticed is especially the first couple of weeks, some of the strongest teams are the ones that have really high SR DPS carries, and like you look at the Quails with Elko, you look at the Foxians with I'm blanking, Akua. Yeah, I don't know why I couldn't remember his name. And then the Sean Beltier, the GOON1Es team with Neptune and
The
Zenth.
Schnaubeltier, yeah.
However you say it. Is it Snobbletier?
Beltier.
Yeah. I'm just going to call them GOON1Es team.
line,
It's crazy.
that DPS line is so good.
My only question about them is 2 things have to happen. Is Scorpio needs to be there because they can't run that DPS line unless they have Scorpio or they have a ringer for Scorpio. And then if Scorpio is there, he has to play support, which isn't the role he signed up on. So
He always done
they put
flex,
Neptune on
right?
support.
Yeah.
But
They
okay,
need to
but
put
the
Neptune
one map
support
they
to
put
get
Neptune on support, it didn't like.
I
No
know.
offense, it
Yeah.
did not look as good as the other 3
That
maps.
one
I
might
know,
have been
I'm just
on
saying.
me,
I'm just
not
saying
gonna
to
lie.
get Scorpio to DPS. I'm just saying get Scorpio to DPS.
Yeah. But the problem is if Scorpio plays DPS, then you can't run Neptune Zenth. I was just saying that Neptune Zenth is like probably the best DPS line in the league, pretty handedly. But they might not even be able to run it. Is kind of the issue.
I talked to Neptune after that match, and he was definitely already feeling the synergy with Zenth. I feel like both those 2 are people who have the game sense on the characters they're playing predominantly, and they will do some crazy things that other teams won't be able to expect and adapt to, and you're just gonna get run over because they're a step ahead of you like the entire time.
Yeah.
And Neptune's one person who's like always gonna be communicating what's happening, no matter what. So it just makes it so easy for them to just like free flow and get rhythm, and then Booney on tank just like is like, oh, space is made for me. I can just go and kill 5, you know?
Yeah. Booney also makes a lot of really good comms. I feel like he's always willing to play stuff that really helps his team out.
Yeah.
Especially lately, I know kind of he's been known as the Rhine guy, but I feel like his hero pool's a lot deeper than that. I don't know if he's been like grinding on his like Ramatra or grinding on his Diva, but I've seen him play like a lot of heroes he's not traditionally known for, just to kind of help out his team. So I think that's been really nice for their team too.
Yeah, his ball during the match, I was very impressed.
Yeah.
He was doing a lot of work on the wrecking ball.
Yeah, I feel like if we do enter a ball meta, I feel like I got my eye on Sully on the Owls.
Dude,
So
I would love a ball meta.
I remember on the Corsairs. I don't know if he was saying this as a joke or if he actually wanted to play ball, but he would always like beg to play ball. Like you could tell that he is year of the ball. Yeah, he always says that. And,
I mean, Riddle believed it was year of the ball too, and
Never got to do it though.
never got to do
People in
it.
the series hated me.
I actually did, low
They wanted
key.
to keep me down.
I was your greatest op on the series.
I know.
Yeah. Every time I try to ask, I always try to ask the apes. I'm like, oh, what comps are we gonna be running on this map? What comps are we gonna be running on this map? And let me look this up real quick. I want to say it's Mardox. Has cooked up a ball comp that we are never gonna run, but he always likes to say that as a joke. It is. Oh my god, I can't find it.
I don't know. It's year of the ball apparently. You can just run anything with ball, and I heard
Here we
it
go.
will work.
This is it. Wrecking Ball, Genji, Junkrat, Mercy, Lifeweaver. That's always what Mardox tries to get us to run, and I'm like, we're not going to do that.
Right.
Oh, and then later on he said Mercy, Lifeweaver, Junkrat, Hammond, Widow. And I'm like, don't.
Who's the... Wait, so the Lifeweaver is Mardox, right?
Yeah, Mardox wants to play Lifeweaver, and I'm
you're
like,
the
that's not
Mercy.
going to happen. That's not going to happen.
Oh gosh.
Mercy's not in a good spot
That
right
is
now
so
overall. Like,
That is certainly a cook.
but yeah, let me go back and look at my list again. What let me see, what games have we not talked about yet? The Owls versus the Foxians. I would really like to see the Owls at full strength because I feel like they didn't do great against the Foxians, but also Jamie.
They're down Flip Flop, yeah.
I think Flip Flop is their highest. No, other than Sully, their second highest SR player. So it's like you're kind of losing a lot, having to run some awkward comps, in that situation. So I think you can only really take so much away from that.
Yeah, and Jamie, I was talking to Sully that, and Jamie does bring a lot of that, like brings a lot of comms more than Sully expected, as well, and like gives a lot of like vibes. Like BBQ does give some, but he's really goofy a lot of the time, and Jamie can sort of feed off that, but she can bring her own sort of style as well, which helps with that because she did. I don't know if she still does or if she used to just play for NIU, but she's able to do really good there at least.
I feel like a lot of those collegiate teams, it's like you kind of get into getting a good comm structure in general. So I hear a lot about. I think I remember hearing Casey Dunn on his team also has some really good comms, and I'm assuming a lot of that carries over from his whatever his collegiate team is on. I always get all the acronyms confused. Yeah, now you started talking about Jamie. I'm like, I can't remember what Jamie's like acronym is and what Casey Dunn's is. I get those two confused all the time because it's just 3 letters.
Yeah, Foxians were able to run their starting roster every map.
Yeah.
Because they were down Hartra, they were down Poldix.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, technically, that starting roster is 100 under SR, so I'm advocating is like, yo, I mean,
also
you don't
technically
need to put me in, you know, you can play me one map and then have
that's true.
You can have a comp at SR that's probably better, but no.
Technically, the Owls, I think their main lineup is 3410.
3420.
3420. I was like, that's also like a decent amount under SR too. So
they're 10 SR over the Foxians main lineup, but that is also with Jamie.
Flip Flop, and they didn't have Flip Flop.
Yeah.
And so they were running a composition that was a decent amount more.
3370.
Yeah.
Oof. So yeah, I feel like that game, it's like you can look at it and be like, yeah, the Foxians looked really good, but I think there's only so much you could take away with that game because I think there were a lot of variables, I guess is the best way to put that. What else? Oh, I knew we were missing a game. We didn't even talk about the Froggists versus the Bobcats.
I got no insight on that.
It was sort of thwacking.
Yeah.
From what I saw, but it was also like I don't know what to think because there's some interesting stuff cooked up on Havana.
Yeah.
You should still be able to see the VOD on this channel from Chloe or Laura's POV. But, like, Foost was on Sim.
Yeah.
On Havana. And same with Cupcake. They're on, like, a Rhine close hold, which it's sort of standard anyways. But then they kept it for a while. Cupcake was on Sim. Tried to 1v1 Foost a couple times. Lost. And then on Attack Havana, Cupcake was on Junkrat.
Yeah.
So it's like, It's interesting.
Um,
Yeah, frogs seem good though.
I have a lot of questions about the Frogs. I feel like I've heard people refer to them as kind of being a gatekeeper team, which I could kind of see. Like I see Flambo Jambo saying in chat that Chloe looked really good. I feel like that's another. I know we mentioned this earlier about having those high SR hyper carry. I think Chloe's another one of those. Where it's just I feel like every single season it's like Chloe ends up being like top 5 in the power rankings for the first half of the season at least, just because she's such a good player, and it's like just having her on the team, you do have that potential for a carry, and then right behind her you have Cupcake, who's also a very capable player on multiple roles. So like that's a pretty deep team. I feel like that team could go pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they're really good, and they're my next opponent too. So
Interesting.
it's gonna be a tough game, but it's winnable.
Yeah.
I think because I mean,
it's
both Nuttier and
Chloe-
Charbotron do that. Like they both are main support mains as well. This is not including like Paracelsus or Paras subbing in, who is that flex support main.
Yeah.
But at least the first map they ran Charbotron on flex support with Nuttier staying on that main support.
That's my big question about that team, is how that support line's going to work. I mean, I feel like always just break glass in case of emergency. You can just run Para on flex support and then Charbotron on main support. I feel like that's still pretty good. I know technically it is lower SR, but just having... I feel like it's better to run a slightly lower SR support line that is comfortable in the roles they're playing than having to force someone to off-roll in order to run a higher SR. But yeah, Flambo's saying that I'm assuming he's talking about the Froggies are a top 4 team. I could see that.
Yeah.
I feel like that could be a good team.
I don't know about like I don't think anybody can be impressed with the Foxians after our game because we were playing a team
I know,
that's,
like
way under.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The oh yeah, he's also talking about the Foxy. Yeah, I mean like it's kind of the same thing with the Froggies. I don't know how good the Bobcats are gonna be. I don't know. Like I've heard different things from different people, but I feel like it's one of those teams where it's like they have a lot of good pieces. It's kind of like the Lancers, is they have a lot of good pieces, but just having everyone kind of fit on the fit their specific roles and not be awkward, like in an awkward rotation or anything like that. I think that's kind of the big thing with the Bobcats. So I think that's a team I could see also like I was saying about the Roosters kind of putting in the time and effort to improve throughout the season. I could see that team start to get better throughout the season, but it's just kind of still trying to figure stuff out early. It's still a little awkward for their team, I guess. I was forgetting. There was one team. There are 2 teams that I'm forgetting. I'm saving the Vin team for last because he's in the chat right now, so I want to make him wait.
The Zillas.
Yeah, but I wanted to talk about the Kappa next because I completely forgot about the Kappa. I thought we already talked about them. I personally think that team has a... I think the Kappa and the Snobbletier, whatever, are on opposite ends of the spectrum. I think the GOON1Es team, I think, has a really high ceiling, right? Because you have that potential to run that Neptune and Zenth DPS line, which I think is just crazy. That's a crazy DPS line. It's the best DPS line in the league, and I feel like either of those players could just hard carry games. Not even like, and then having both of them, it's like the chances that one of them will be just hard carrying the team at any given point is pretty high. But I also think that they have a low floor, so there's a lot of is variance the right word? You probably know, Riddle. A lot of variance with that
variance
team.
Is like
high ceiling, low floor.
Yeah. That's what I think about the Snubble tier, is if they're able to kind of make everything work, I'm really scared of that team. But it's like they have to kind of get everyone on the same, like get everyone showing up, get the hero pools and the rosters working and everything like that. And then figuring out if they want to, like what they want to run when Scorpio's on DPS is like they'd have to switch someone to support, or they would have to bench Zenth or Neptune, which I don't think they want to do.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of questions about that team, but if they're able to like answer all the questions, it's kind of like last season with the Red Pandas. I was like, I have a lot of questions with the Red Pandas, but if they're like on, they're good. But I think
Pandas,
not the Red Pandas. The other
Magic Tiger.
Magic Tigers. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's got a lot of variance. The Kappa, I feel like I'm pretty confident. Like I feel like they have a really high floor. But I don't know. I don't think I would put their ceiling high compared to some of the other teams. I feel like they're a very consistent... There's another team where I could see them being a gatekeeper team. I feel like they're a very consistent, very stable team. I feel like they have a lot of very good players. but I don't know if they have any like hard carries like any Akuas. I guess they have Fedora Master.
If Fedora.
Yeah.
It's
I
mean,
like,
like,
yeah.
Fedora's
I
able
just
to do that.
I just can't see the like second hard carry on their team other than Fedora.
Yeah.
And like
I
it
mean,
might just because Fedora's the only hard carry, and sure
it's
you
like
can give Strudel the shout, but
it's not
I
like a
don't know.
super hard like sync, like
Yeah.
Foxians or whatever.
Yeah.
Or what's another example?
Purple Apes.
Purple Ape.
Purple Apes, right?
Yeah.
So it's like they try to like equalize it, so it's not like there's a hard carry. You don't need a hard carry. If like the rest of your team is able to sort of like keep their own and do well and work together. And I know that they've been like they're just playing a whole bunch of games last night just trying to get better together
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well.
And like I don't know. I like the vibes of that team. The team has a lot of my friends.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people I talk to a lot. I think it can be good. I'm worried about just like when you get in game though, like where's the flexibility coming from? Where's the battle plan coming from? And will you get tilted on that team? Because I don't know who's gonna go up there and stand up and be like, "Yo, we're winning this map like this. Let's do it." You know? I
Muffin lumps.
don't know.
The law.
I like it's like if you're having me or you show up
So
and
what?
say,
Yeah.
"Oh, we're gonna go into the map. We're gonna approach it like this. We're gonna attack these 3 points. We're gonna win." It's like we're not. I feel like it's hard for me and you to be smart enough to say that on any team. You know,
Yeah.
just because we're lower SR. And
Yeah,
I know that Fedora doesn't want a hard comm.
Well, they have Toast. Toast calms a lot. Toast or Cheeto calms a lot on the support as well.
Yeah.
And Fedora is like fine. He doesn't want to, but I feel like there's someone else with like Toast or Cheeto that he's able to sort of bounce off of. Then they're able to get what they need and be able to do it because they are smart. I know Fedora's a really smart player with that stuff. I haven't talked to Cheeto once, so I cannot say on Cheeto and how he calms everything, but I hear that he does it a lot and he's good with it.
Yeah. I think Cheeto is also from NAU, so.
Mm-hmm.
EJ, you were saying
Ever
something?
seen EJ?
Oh, when I played them, the Kappa in our match, I was really impressed by like the pace they were taking. Like they were like always on the gas pedal, like rushing towards us, and like they played that Queen comp like I think most of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really tricky, like, cause I'm on like I was playing like the BAP, and I was just like not used to getting like run at that fast, and like Yoda would just full charge at me on BAP, and I was like I don't know what to do, but yeah.
And you can call me. Yeah. Oh, you go.
I think they have a lot of potential. Like I think if as long as they like keep trying their best to improve and like keep that improvement mindset, I think they could definitely get better.
Yeah. And like we mentioned before, like a lot of those, I feel like I see Muffin, Raz, and Fedora. I think those are the main ones from that team. I think I see all of them like constantly playing. So, well, yeah, I think that core especially could do a lot of improving by the end of the season. And also the meme, I feel like they're all kind of leaning into the. I still don't get
the
it.
cup a bit.
I don't get it, but it's something. They're
He's
definitely
creating a. It's a
like
commentary on capitalism in the
it
modern
feels like
day.
a religion. Like it feels like they're in a cult.
I say this. So we're talking about them. They're all in a call right now. Start like scrimming. They're scrimming right now. They're about to scrim the Zillas. So.
Oh,
they're trying to get better.
Speaking of the Zillas, good pivot there. That's the last team we haven't talked about.
Thanks, man.
I have very conflicting feelings about the Zillas. I don't know exactly what I should be thinking about them yet. I'm a big Vind fan. But yeah, like I think versus the Snobble tier, honestly, I don't think they looked very good. Like I said, the Snubble tier is a hard team to kind of get a read on. But especially because I was ringing for Scorpio, so me being there kind of answered a lot of the questions that I would have if Scorpio was there. But yeah, like Vind is a good player, but but I think like the next best player on his team is Met. And it's like a lot of a lot of rookies there, Ruben Legumes and
Spartan and Voyager.
Spartan and Voyager. Voyager I thought was really good. I had no idea anything about Voyager. Showed up on Widow and kind of rolled. I think that's another NAU player. A lot of NAU players this season, now that I'm thinking about it. Not even to mention anyone on the Quails, but...
We scrimmed the Zillas, and I don't know. I like the build of their team. I think they're a team that's going to get better throughout the season. Granted, after scrimming them, after the match they had, I don't think they're a top 3 team right now, easily. And I think they do have work to do, but I think they have the right pieces to do that work. I think that Met and Vind and Voyager specifically are 3 people who can like really play like at or above their SR easily, and then you just have the consistency with their team of you can swap Ruben and Voyager really easily. You can swap Spartan into that role as well. You can get Witherin and Milo as like really easy swaps. They're the exact same SR at 3,550. So I like their ability to improve. I just want them to hit the VODs, and I want them to like figure out what they're doing wrong. Their like long range poke comps look like incredible though, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I haven't just seen that with anything else.
It's one of those teams that just looks really good on paper, but they just haven't gotten it clicking yet. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said,
because they're your next opponent.
Oh yeah,
that's what I say. That's why I say that. What flavor juice pouch? Fruit punch Capri Sun. What do you think, EJ?
The
Zillas.
About the Zillas, not about the Capri Sun.
Not the Capri Sun. Capri Sun's pretty good, but the Zillas.
I think, I think if you leave Vind and Met, like, if you don't, like, keep them in check, like, they could do a lot of work against your team. Yeah. That's from what the things I was seeing Met do in some of the fights were actually crazy when I was watching that game. Like, I think on Lijiang, like, he like, single-handedly saved them from losing, like, a round of control. Like, it was 99, he, like, had a clutch touch, and he, like, killed, like, 4 right after. Like, it was, like, he's such a good pop-off player, and then Vind is just very consistent, like, has very high game sense. So I think maybe they're not the best right now, but, like, I think they have potential.
They can get up there, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I know we kind of touched on every team. Like let's give our predictions for next week. I think I kind of just go down the list and like everyone just kind of say who you think's gonna win. I don't know if we necessarily need a score line, but just kind of go down the list here. Tomorrow we have Quails versus Kappas. I think I'm leaning Quails right now. Like we said with the Kappa, it's like I feel like they're a pretty consistent team, but I feel like Elko is just such a good player, and the comms of the Quails are just really strong. So I feel like
it's a comm-oriented team.
It's a comm-oriented team.
Remember.
Yeah.
EJ knows all about that.
I'm a Quails believer. I have them. I don't know if I have them top 3, but I have them up there in terms of my. No, I probably don't have them top 3, but I have them probably top 5 or top 6 right now. So
I think the Quails are gonna come into that game really hungry for a win.
That's true.
I think their last match, I think they had some confidence they'd win, and I think they maybe like a little surprising that it was that close and they ended up losing. I think they're very hungry to just get a win on the board.
Yeah.
For their team. So
I talked a little bit to Skyser before we played them, and he was like, I think we're the best team. He was like so confident in himself and his team, which is good. But I think he kind of their team kind of got a little I can't think of the right word. They got a little too comfortable. Comfortable, I think is the word I'm thinking of. So they were like, I think they weren't as motivated because they just thought they were gonna win. So I think now that they lost going into that next week's game, I feel like they're gonna like lock in and push really hard. Because another thing too, I don't know if we really talked about the Apes versus the Quails. Like that was such a close game. I feel like there were.
Yeah.
I think the Quail easily could have won that. I think there were a couple of key decisions I think they could have made differently. Specifically with ult, I think there were some ult economy issues with that team. So I think it's just polishing up some of that stuff. I think they are still a really good team. But going into the Kappa, like, I don't know. I wasn't too convinced by them last week. So I feel like I just have, I feel like I'm just more convinced or I'm more confident in the Quails winning that game than the Kappa.
If Kappa can lock in and like if they're all in the like they've been practicing a lot, as Riddle has said. If they like come in with like a new like mentality, like, hey, we've been practicing, let's see how we stand up against this team. This is one of the better teams probably. Let's see how we stack up. I think they can like maybe steal maps, and then you can get, once you like steal like a map off like a good team like that, you start to get like a little bit more confident, and then you like play better. Because like one game on the Brawlers, like when we, was it the Zil? What was the team we played that when I was on?
I need more information.
Okay, sorry.
You played a lot of teams on the
playoffs, or
Brawlers.
was it regular season or?
The team that won that season.
The
Can't remember
Zeniths.
the name.
Zeniths.
Zeniths. Okay, that
Oh
When
yeah,
we
yeah.
played when we played the Zeniths, our mentality was like, this is a tough team. We've been practicing a bit. Let's see how we do. If we win, that's great. If we lose, like, it's not that big of a deal. We'll try our best. And like we stole the first map. It was like very close. We get more confidence after that, and then we steal the second map after like there's some unfortunate internet disconnects, and we still ended up clutching it out. And then we just like at that point we were like we're like confident that we can clean up and win the match. So
I think Quails are very, like, in my opinion, this may be me being a doomer again, I think Quails are a very low variance team. I don't know if they were highly ranked in the power rankings or not, but I have them at a good team around top 5 right now, and I think that's where they're gonna stay throughout the regular season. I don't think they can get worse than that. They have Elko, they have Skycer, two people who have definitely impressed me throughout their Aurora esports careers. But if they want to get better than that, like, I think the rookies have to like start like being like incredible. They have to start hitting the VODs of the team a bunch, and they have to like start rolling other teams. Like rolling like high tier other teams. And I think the fact that they put up a good fight against your team, Paninii, is impressive.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, I think I have them probably 5 or 6 right now in my personal power rankings. I think they are good, and like you said, I think they're another team that has potential to like keep climbing too. I do think like out of all the teams that I think are going to get better throughout the season, I feel like they're one of the higher ones too. So like they're already starting at a pretty good spot. Like having Elko just kind of does that to a team. Is it just having a player like Elko, you already start off like you're going to be a good team if you have Elko. But I think just the ability for the other players to grind and improve throughout the season, I feel like is just going to put them in a good spot.
Yeah, and their core of players, like they have the NAU core with like Skycer, Paradox, Seikana.
Yeah.
They have that core, like they play on their collegiate team a lot. So they have like a lot of synergy, so they can continue to work on that. And like I think you incorporate like a good player like Elko into that team, and I think you have like a really solid team that can definitely on the like top end, I'd say.
Yep. Riddle, you got anything before we move on to the next game? I feel like we spent a lot of time on the Quails.
Yeah, I'd probably go Quails. I think it could be close though.
Yeah,
but
that's fair. I can see it being close.
Yeah, I think that's about it for that game.
Next game, the Sea Dragons versus the Lancers. I feel like I don't want to overthink that and pick the Lancers, but I feel pretty confident in the Sea Dragons. I think they're one of the top teams right now. like we mentioned earlier, I think the Lancers have some stuff to figure out with like their comps and their rosters and everything. So I feel pretty good about the Sea Dragons that game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Lancers are also trying to figure out what comp they still want to run.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, we'll see Dragons sort of have that down. I know they tried Cory on tank for a little bit, like on
Yeah.
Ivana, and Sonic's thinking that they're probably just going to scrap that and just go like their normal comps.
And I think
Instead with
Ivana,
Cory
I
out
watched
there.
Ivana. I think that was just a good map, like a good map for what the Slouchers
Slouchers.
wanted to do.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I don't want to like rule
I
out Cory
agree.
on tank, but I agree
But
with
they
you on
also
that,
were
yeah.
trying it in scrims and it wasn't working out
Okay,
well.
fair.
So,
Yeah.
but it's like it could have been because of that. It could not be because of that, right? So, but from what I hear, they might be done with that type of comp.
Yeah.
But
Well, and Melon's a great tank. Like he's
Yeah.
somebody who can be your main tank. And Corey for 3.4 on DPS, I like keep forgetting like how low that is and how legal that is and how good that is for that team.
Yeah, that is such a good value on DPS for. And Corey on the Zenith again, like he was pretty good on that team on DPS.
Yeah, that's
mainly.
true. That's true.
So, but I think the Sea Dragons, like I think it's the same thing with the Coils, where they're definitely hungry for this win.
Yeah,
so they're
I'm
gonna
sure.
go in like really hard for it.
I mean, both are, right?
That's true.
Sea Dragons went 5 map. Lancers
Oh,
went
that's
up
true, yeah,
against
that's
us.
true.
So I could see both, but I probably pred Sea Dragons. I'm still fairly high on them despite other
Yeah.
loss.
Yeah, still number one. Or they were I guess the number one ranked power rankings team. So even with that loss, I feel like they were playing a good team in the Slouchers. So I feel like you can't knock them down too much. So I still think they're definitely up there. So the next game I'm really interested in. I'm curious about how this is gonna go.
Because
The
it's with
Bobcats.
you two.
We can't.
Oh,
talk.
it's not.
Oh, you're doing
Oh.
podcast
No,
then?
I'm just going down the list. Bobcats versus the Snubble tier.
Okay.
We're going down a
Snubble tier.
different list here, Panini. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie. Like
What?
me and you, we're out of sync.
I'm looking at this is the match times. I'm looking down match
He's
times.
looking
right
at like the order of the
Yeah.
These are
matches
both
when they're happening.
Tuesday at 9 p.m.
No, yeah.
But so the Bobcats, I know have been cooking. They're another team that is hungry for their win. I know
Yeah.
Fire especially. Like Fire is super motivated in general. So I'm sure he's like cooking up a lot of stuff on his team, trying to figure out what works. And I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, that Scorpio is going to be able to show up so we can get to see some Scorpio comps on the Snubble tier. So like, I think that game could answer a lot of questions about both of those teams, depending on like what happens. So if I were to pick right now, I would probably pick the Snubble tier.
I'd also agree with that.
I would agree with that. I think yeah, Neptune early season is just like
Yeah, that's another.
scary. Like nobody else has plans yet, and this man is the man of millions of plans. So
Yeah, so I know we've been talking about this. It's like you have, I'm trying to think, like Akua, Elko, Neptune, Chloe, Sully. I feel like there's a lot of players that have, or a lot of teams that have these like really
ISR.
like great ISR players that just hard carry teams. I mean, I feel like the thing is, part of it too is that we have a lot of the GM players are on support this season, and I feel like support is one of the harder ones to carry with. So like,
yeah. But I was looking at the VOD. Moon was also getting hit a lot of the time.
Yeah,
on support,
I mean,
at least
yeah.
like on Nimbani.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'd probably pick the Snubble tier, just because like you said, Neptune difference.
What were you saying, EJ, about it?
I think the Bobcats have. I think it's gonna be an uphill battle for sure for them, but I think this is a team like where they can like really like start to show like what they're capable of.
Yeah.
Because I think their last match, like it was
Rogue.
a little tough, but I think this was a much more easier match to approach.
Yeah.
But I still think like maybe they get a map, but I would predict like the Schnabel tier. I think like Neptune's in, if they can run that DPS line, I think that can do a lot of work. So
Yeah. I think everyone's made their preds on that game. The next game, based on the time, is the Slouchers versus the Owls. I am going to go into that game assuming that Flip Flop is going to be there. I'd still probably pick the Slouchers. They looked really good. They beat a really good team in the Sea Dragons week 1. they have it's another thing. They have an EST design, who's like another one of those players that could just carry that team.
I feel like the Owls they've got the talent.
Yeah, I think
So-
that could be. That's another one I got my eye on because like I feel like we haven't even really seen the true Owls form yet. So,
And Cone is looking really good for 2050
yeah,
as
yeah,
well. So
Cone's another one where it's like the same thing as Pokemon Guy. It's like if Cone shows up and like does his job, like that's all he's got to do for his SR, especially because it enables his team to run just such a good lineup.
I mean, the safe bet's to go Slouchers, right? Because they won. One reason being that they won their game. Owls lost their game, right?
Yeah,
But
Are you a
Do
safe
it.
better, Riddle?
no.
no,
If you couldn't tell, I'm not a
No?
safe better.
Oh, not
I'm
a
gonna
safe
go
better.
Owls.
you gotta go Owls. Let's go.
Oh.
I mean, a lot of the time I wouldn't be going with the consensus. Some of the times,
I
like
know.
in last week. Hence why I'm 1-5 so far. But I feel like Owls are able to do it. They've got the talent. I feel like Sully's able to do a lot with the team if Jamie is there. If
Yeah.
Jamie is not there, then it's just a different story, I believe. And Derek's really smart, like able to absorb a lot of information. So he was telling me before how like he'd be sitting on VODs for like Divinity Leviathan and like just learn stuff about the game and like
Yeah.
how to play it, right? And where he's able to sort of apply that. A lot of the time he's still managing Nightmare Unit, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
and Clockwise is on Alco's team that he is coaching.
Oh,
So I can see that. I can see Clockwise also getting better as well. I feel like they're able to do it. The easy one is Slouchers, but I'm gonna go Owls.
I'm taking the easy way out.
yeah.
I don't care. Slouchers 3-0. I'm a hater today. I'm a hater today. Here's the thing about the Slouchers though. Every single one of their drafts, I think, were just like a top tier draft for Yak, and I think the fact that Yak is slotting in on support, like, I think like as he should be, and the fact that they have so many possible comps, I don't think they've run some of their best comps yet. I don't know. I'm just like so high on the Slouchers. If they like commit to improving and commit to like keeping themselves at the highest caliber gameplay, I think that there's not really much stopping this team.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, I think-
That's a lot of. I've heard that from a lot of people too.
I think AJ.
I think it's gonna be a hard game for the Owls, but yeah, maybe Flip Flop coming in if she's there for the match could help a lot. But I think the Slouchers, they just look they beat the Sea Dragons. It's a close game, but I think they are probably gonna keep that high going, and I think it's gonna be maybe they can take a map, but I think they're gonna win pretty decisively.
Yeah. I want to go last on the next one. The next one I'm looking at right now is the Floppas versus the Froggas. Is it Frogs or Froggas? I don't think I've ever. I don't think
How
I've
do you
heard-
pronounce it? I know you're in
I
chat.
don't know, man.
Is it
Froge, maybe.
Froge? There's an S at the end.
Yes.
Froges.
or a Froggies?
What's the ethnicity behind that name?
Fall,
So I know that
Like
the
Welsh?
theme is a Lord of the Rings.
it's Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's like a reference to a Lord of the Rings thing, or if it's just like a silly way to say
hold on.
frogs. He's cooking right now.
There's a specific video.
There's a specific video for this.
Hmm.
Well, as you guys look, I'm gonna start with my prediction.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think the
I'll let you
Floppas
go.
win it. Okay. I think that is a controversial prediction, according to the Pred panel having 4 votes for the frogs, froggies, froggies.
I haven't even
whatever you
looked
wanna
at the
call it or
Pred panel
whatever.
yet.
But here's my take. All right. I think that the Foppas are a calm-oriented team, and I don't know if the frogs.
That's not even our
Froggies,
meme.
or a calm-oriented team. Okay. Like no, I don't care. Like if
No, I
he's
know.
leaving,
It's just funny.
alright?
It's just funny. It's just a good joke in general.
Yeah, but I think that I look at like every single person on the Flavas, and I think, oh yeah, that person can calm, you know? And I don't know. I think the Frogs have a couple newer players. They have a lot of carries, but I think that the mid SR team is gonna win out this time.
This game is so hard for me.
I know.
Like,
This is one of the harder ones for me to predict, in my opinion.
Like, I
Froge.
like the flop.
Froges. I'm looking at the video that Sharp sent earlier. I'll send
Like
it so you
a
can look at it
U
later.
sound kind
I'm
of.
gonna call them the Frogs. It's the same thing with the GOON1Es
Yeah.
team.
I'll see how it is. As you're saying, EJ.
I think, yeah, it's just hard. I think it's gonna go. I think this, if any game is gonna, I think there's 2 games actually that can go 3-2. I think if any game's going 3-2, it's probably probably this game.
Yeah.
I think it's like the Frogs, like they have they like Chloe plays like hog. They're running really they run like that comes very it's like
Unorthodox?
unorthodox, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And if the Floppas, it's like you're not used to playing against the hog, so like when you're getting like hooked and like and there's like hogs doing hog things, like are you gonna be able to like under that pressure like perform? It's difficult really, but I think I could see either team taking it, but I think the Frogs.
Carefully.
I think
He
the
does well against
Frogs can clutch out.
Yeah. Riddle, do you want to make a pred or no?
It's my own game. I'm not gonna make
You're
it
not going
for
to?
my own game.
So I'm the tiebreaker.
Yeah, I can talk about it if you want. But I'll talk about it after.
So I'm the tiebreaker here.
Paninii just
I'm
had
the-
to hear our
I'm thinking-
arguments.
I'm
and now
thinking.
he's just gonna sheep off of one of us.
No, I'm thinking the Floppas.
Oh, he sheep for me. Let's go.
I know. I feel like a lot of the games so far I've been taking the easy one. I know that Riddle was like, Riddle like stood up and was like, he's gonna pick which one was it? The Slouchers. You picked the Owls over the Slouchers.
Owls, yeah.
According to the Preds right now, at least at the time I'm checking this, Frog is 4-1. So I'm gonna be the dissenter and pick the Floppas. I agree with EJ though. I think this is gonna be. I think this one and the Roosters are going to be 2 of probably the closest games this season or this week. So I could see either of those just going either way. Oh, and my game. I haven't even been looking at the game that I'm playing into. I think that could also be a really good game, but I'm going to pick the Floppas. I think I think it's pretty evenly matched though.
It's gonna be difficult for us. I'm thinking more difficult than the Lancers.
Yeah.
Right, but I think that we're able to pull it out. Because I mean, you're gonna have Chloe on the heroes that she sort of signed up for, anyways, right?
Yeah.
Not that's like I was talking to Sully. It's not like the worst thing because you have a lot of bases covered, right? With just like the tanks or DPS or supports that she picked, so it doesn't really matter. But I mean, I'm gonna see Cupcake on hit scan most of the time. Maybe something else like trolling.
Yeah.
Dante Fan is looking good on like the flex DPS, and then you get Triboutron, Nedier, like doing stuff on main support. I don't know what, but like they can pull out shenanigans. I know both of them are Life for Enjoyers, right?
Yeah.
Her look good on flex support, but it's gonna be a difficult game. But I feel like we should be able to pull it out.
Yeah. I do agree with you. I think that is going to be a tougher game than the Lancers. Like, I mean, we've been kind of mentioning, I feel like they are kind of like up towards the top. So like, I think this is going to be a much better test, I think, for your team.
I agree.
So like, I don't know. I have absolutely no idea where
It's
the
like
flop is.
Lancers
Yeah.
were like another flat team, sort of, right?
Yeah.
For the most part.
It's like kind of the same with the
it's gonna be
Foxians too.
interesting.
Not the Foxians. The I guess it is the Frogus. I was like the I feel like the Frogus and the Floppas I think didn't have a great test week 1. So I think having them play each other is going to be like, that's going to be a good test for both teams, so I can get kind of a better understanding of like where they kind of are gonna fit in this season.
Yeah. And that's gonna be a good Boonie Prod, so.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Official run.
Let's go. And then an hour after that game starts, into the Foxians and Apes, and I'm sure me and War aren't gonna give our specific preds, but
Yeah.
What if
Do you want to go first, DJ, or should I?
Uh,
On Ape Foxy.
This is the other game I think could be close. But I think the Purple Apes are gonna. I think they're gonna keep their momentum going, and I think they're like they have like the players, like they have such good players on that team, and it's such a well built team. I think. So I think they can. I think they'll pull it through, but it's gonna be a hard fought game for sure. I think.
yeah.
It's gonna be difficult. I mean, both teams are built the same way in the sense that there is that harder SR sync, right? You get your Paninii or Pokemon guy compared to War, right? But
Yeah, one of those I think is better than the other.
Pokemon guy.
Pokemon guy.
yeah, dude. Actually, bro, I've
For
been saying
real.
this entire season this guy's better than me.
I don't know. I feel like
He's cooking right now, chat.
There are at least a million.
Do you know if you have
possibilities.
Polix or Hardchar?
Do I?
Yeah.
I mean, I can say the when to meet.
Will you
But
have Polix or
Pokemon guy
Hardchar?
won't be there. He may show up late. I think that's a bigger deciding factor, you know?
haven't even
Because
checked.
Pokemon guy, like it's like their team's losing their best player versus.
That's
You
true.
know.
I mean, I
Like
think
we're all average players on the Foxians. Like we're like all like pretty even, you know? Like
Yeah, that's why I
down
think that the
Akua,
Purple
down
Apes
me
are
is
gonna
like
win.
the same thing.
That's why I think Purple Apes are gonna win then.
Sleep on the Purple
they're all the
Apes.
same.
Let's
They're
go.
like all the same anyways. I mean, it's like you're just saying, it's gonna be a really hard game. I think for both teams. I could see just going to map 5. Map 6. Speaking of map 6. But I feel like there is a lot of leadership on the Apes, right? You have like Fire Carter, which is able to like help people improve, as well. Paninii, I know, likes to calm a lot, as well. Mardox, who's good on flex part, because they're able to make it to top cut in OBCS too.
Yeah.
As well, so it's known to sort of ignore on that team, as they're also technically not the highest SR player on that team with Fire Carter 4-2 on support, but
Yeah.
I feel like on the Foxians, they might sort of expect it to be easy or something, or like they might get smacked. Randy's gonna boom, and that's gonna be.
That's crazy.
I feel like I'm too jaded from Akua booming.
I mean,
I'm-
I do expect it to
Dyer
be
can
easier
calm.
without Pokemon
Like Dyer
guy
can
there.
calm. Dyer can calm. I think that's
Wow.
it though. Like
Yo,
I
we're
feel
just-
like HV doesn't say much of
Yeah.
anything. Randy doesn't say anything. I have
War
not played on a
comms.
team with.
I honestly
like,
think
Jack on support.
I think on that team, I think War might have the most comms. If I'm guessing right now.
I feel like it's Dyer.
Spoiler alert!
I feel like it's
It may be a me and Dyer comment show.
It's like yeah.
That's what I thought. That's what I think. But I feel like especially that part of the Purple Apes is gonna sort of pull through and be the deciding factor there. But I could see it going other way, depending on especially the mental of the teams and seeing that. But I'd have to say Purple Apes.
I am always every single week I go in, I'm like looking at the worst case scenario, and I'm like, these are what's going to be the problems. This is what we're going to have to address, and this is how we can like approach it. I feel like the Voxians are one of the teams that I am a little worried about, especially because Akua is just super good. Like I said earlier, though, it's like I feel like we beat a not necessarily the structure isn't the exact same, but I think the Quail is kind of like has that same hyper carry DPS. Elko and Akua are both very good DPS players, and the fact that we beat Elko makes me feel a little bit better about playing Akua, but I am scared of that guy, both in real life and in game.
All right. Well, and my 2 cents on it is that I mean, Panini's team, the Purple Apes, look good. I mean, I think Tommy Slat went into that and they drafted the almost perfectly. I think obviously a few flaws here and there, but I think he had like an almost perfect draft. He got the players he wanted. He's able to pop off with those players, and I'm definitely going to be treating this game with a lot more respect than the previous one.
Yeah.
However, you forgot about one thing, and that's Centurion. So
He's
Oh,
not.
take it or
right.
leave it.
I forgot about
don't
that guy.
care. I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait till the couple pull up with Bluefoot Ploof with Whalefish and with Fruitles. Then that's when they're then they're winning.
I just want to
They're
say,
winning a lot.
Sent's a legal ringer for like 4 of our players, 5 of our players actually. So
Yeah,
like,
Pokemon guy is a legal ringer for everyone in the league. So
but you already have
Mhm.
Pokemon guy. Like, you
I'm just
can't
saying.
steal Sent from us. Sent's not gonna go and ring for your team. You know, he's only gonna ring for us.
interesting. Yeah. I do also want to bring up this point that Flambo says is he says the apes are I'm assuming he's talking about the fact that week 1 the apes had a harder test week 1 than the Foxians. I like I said earlier, I feel like it's so hard to get information about that game because you play like a 3300 team, 3400 team, and it's like I was expecting you guys to win that game, especially when I found out Flip Flop wasn't there. I still think on paper like you guys are a really good team, but I don't know how confident I am in you guys. Like, let me think of the best way to put this. I am confident in your team, but I don't know how well you guys will perform against some teams that have their availability figured, like have a full team and have like that higher SR, like a little bit more challenging teams, I guess is the best way to put it. I'd like to see you guys get challenged. So I think, like I was saying earlier with the Floppas Frogaze, I think this is Frogaze. I think this is another really good information game. I think we're going to learn a lot about both of these teams after this match.
Goes the frauds.
I'm honestly kind of surprised you guys both picked the apes because I thought you guys were going to split. But yeah, I think the Preds right now is 3-1. Riddle just put his apes in, but it's 3-1 Foxians right now actually. So I think a lot of people are very split on who they think are going to win that game.
Yeah.
And then last one. Oh yeah, you want to say something first, CJ, before we move on?
I was just gonna say, like, Randy, like if he gets going, like he can be unstoppable.
Yeah.
Feel unstoppable to deal with sometimes. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like Randy's a spooky player. Like Elko was a spooky player last week too. I was like worried about everything. I'm like, here's what we have to worry about. Like if Elko does this, we need to do this to counter this. We need to like be aware of this, and it worked week 1.
I feel like also playing on a team with them in Nightmare Unit and still being on a team with them, I'm not as scared of Randy.
Wow.
Right. Ooh.
I hope Randy's not in chat right now.
Bold words.
But yeah, I mean, going into the...
Because I'm used to it. I'm used to like how he's able to play.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of time because he's on like that Tracer or the Ash. A lot of time it's been that Ash, especially there with Mikey playing the Tracer, and I'm playing that main sprite. I'm playing the Lucio.
We'll see how that pans out in week 10, RiddleDog, bro.
Yeah, true.
Get ready.
True.
You should be shaking in your boots right now. Shaking.
Definitely.
I think that another thing I do want to point out before we move on is I feel like the apes are probably most likely to match Randy's freak. I know he's been begging for that for months now, for someone to match his freak, and I think the apes might get a little silly depending on how that game goes.
You should pull out the ball comp, Paninii.
Pull out the ball? Yeah, only if Akua plays Junkrat.
Junkrat into ball, bro? Yeah. What do you want?
Hey, he did that last game. He played some Junkrat, so there's a basis for that.
Did he play Junkrat?
At some point he did. I don't remember what match. I think it was Li Jing.
He played Junkrat.
He probably would.
Oh, you're right.
That's something it is. That's literally something.
It was during. I think there was a scrim. I saw you guys play on Colosseo. I think I saw him whip out the Junkrat.
Oh yeah, we played the Junk there. Yeah.
I remember seeing the Junkrat earlier this season. Yeah. But yeah, let's move on. Last game, Zillas versus Roosters. That's another one where it's like I feel like that's gonna give us a lot of info on both those teams. Like I feel like those last three, the Floppas, the Floppas game, the Foxians game, and the Zillas game, are gonna give us a lot of info about both those teams.
Zillas win. I like the Zillas. They're cool. They got Vind. They got Milo 16 Milo. My goat.
EJ, is Casey Dunn gonna be there?
Maybe. He said he's not going to be there
Okay.
on the win to meet, but
Yeah.
he surprised me last week by showing up clutch, so we'll see. I mean, I'm not worried either way. I think even with like Allegro in for KC, I think we can still win personally.
I'm gonna.
But
I think that is gonna be a close game.
yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna say if Casey Dunn shows up, I'm gonna pick the Roosters. You know what? I'll pick the Roosters regardless. I'll commit. I'll pick the Roosters over the Zillas.
I got like an if statement.
Yeah. What's your if
If
statement?
Casey Dunn, Roosters, else Zillas, sort of, or like.
Oh, you have the little U. Yeah.
Right, but I mean, Roosters impressed me before. I wasn't really expecting much from them preseason, but again, the game against the Cup, it really impressed me. I mean, I also was casting that as well, so I was able to see more firsthand how they played. But Zillas just feels like they shouldn't have lost that hard. It feels.
I know. Like, I was kind of surprised it was that hard of a game. Yeah, that. What's the word? That decisive. I'm surprised it was that decisive.
Yeah.
I'll have to
I
look
don't
back
know.
at it, but it's like Zilla's scrimbucks are down
Yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
as well, but it's like it's always scrimbucks, right? You've got the classic example of Go for Watch Season 5 that the Quebec Waka should have won because they'd always win against Cantaloupes and scrims, right? Where it's just scrimbucks. Like my team, at least the first scrim we had, I wasn't. It was like fine, but when it came match day, Maverick and Shore both calmed a lot more, and they both played a lot better.
Yeah.
Right, and it's like it maybe there was an off day, maybe it's just because it's match and they know that they need to lock in, right? It's a lot of different things, so I cannot say exactly, but I probably right now have to go with Roosters, but I might change it a little bit later. It's gonna be close, like all of you say.
I like the Roosters pick here strategically for you, Riddle. You know why? Because you're down on the predictions
Because I'm
right
playing
now.
the
You're
Zillas
losing.
week
And
3. I'm also
you
playing
need
Zillas
to-
week 3.
Yeah.
You need to make it. You need to make it up there. You know.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I
crazy.
mean-
Look at. I'm just looking at the Preds right now. 8-0, 8-0, 4-1, 4-2, 6-1, 6-0. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, but
RiddleDog holding it out for the being the minority voter on like
I mean,
almost all the
I-
predictions.
that's what I thought of. I'm like, last week I'm like, I'm a believer in some of these teams, but I also can get an early lead if I lose
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
or if I win them, right? But yeah, that's what I think at least.
EJ, do you have any bucks on this? Any I mean, obviously you think your team's gonna win, but any things you're worried about or things that they should be worried about? I love that one. I love that one.
Well, I think as long as we play our game, like play our game, like execute like our comp we want to play, I think we'll be fine. Like obviously like Met and Vind, like they're good players, they can pop off. If they have a really good game, that could be annoying to deal with, but I think I'm pretty confident. I think we can win.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that does it for the Preds. Let's actually, since it's been a while, I know we usually finish off with the Write That Down. Riddle, can you pull up the previous Write That Down? Because now that last season is over, I think that we're gonna have a lot of results.
Dude, I'm
We
so
can-
sad
we
that
can
my
roll
Write That
through
Down
these.
last season didn't pan out. I had like the biggest Write That Down ever. It was so big brain. It was like, it was perfect and it failed me.
Yeah.
Okay?
I got the soundboard ready too.
That's how I feel.
Let's go.
Okay, let's try to. I'm gonna try to move through these fairly quick. Booney will return to cast for the grand finals. Have both the casters will be in the same room. I don't think that. Who did
I
Booney
don't think that
cast with?
happened. Was it
It
War?
wasn't.
No, because
No,
it
he
was
played.
Sayori's.
No, it was
Sayori's Tigers.
Oh, it was some like. Wait,
Maybe it was Quarry.
maybe it was.
Wait,
Who
let me
the
we
check.
don't know if
heck
they're.
it was?
We
It's
also
in-
don't know if they're in the same room.
Oh, I can't believe you had that qualification on there.
He did have that qualification.
Wait.
Let me check my match
I'm-
times and prod.
No, I'm currently just pulling it up as well.
Same.
It's Bunikori. It was Bunikori.
Ooh.
Okay.
I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
Yeah. So then, nice.
Okay, so remaining 3 playoff games will not be sweeps. That is incorrect. Because the grand finals was
Interesting.
Oops.
sweep.
My bad,
Booney
guys.
Booney will go for more than 4K next season. True, because he's a captain.
Yeah, that counts. That counts.
Tomorrow. Okay, so on June 30th, did Booney went golfing? Was it less than 50? The world may never know.
Wait, let me check. June 30th?
Do you actually have his golf scores pulled up?
Oh, I thought you meant less than
No, it's
30
golf.
weather-wise, bro. I
No.
don't know.
Oh.
It'll be
30
less.
Celsius.
Here, we'll.
No, like golfing. So there's that. For Panini, I'm seeing.
Mine were bad. I've not been hitting these right that downs.
I mean, I haven't either because I'm trying to get some out of the ones. Returning player will win championship in Pokemon. No rookies. That is yet to be seen. Grand MVP will be Zinth. I'm pretty sure it's Elko.
Wait. For what?
Grand Finals MVP.
The Grand Finals MVP. I think it was Elko.
Did I say Zenth?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was Elko.
Okay, mine.
It was up, though. Confirmed.
My Neptune getting MVP. That is correct.
Shocking.
I mean, this was like really early season too.
Oh, okay.
This was from May the 5th. Okay, so Bunger went 3-2 against Tigers. That did not happen. 2 captains, the Olympics, are going to be captains in season 6. Technically not true, because 3 of them.
Come on.
Oh.
And that
Jack, Muffin, and...
EJ. Check Muffin
EJ.
EJ.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
How did I forget about EJ? What the heck?
I can't believe
He's
it.
right here. He's in the chat.
Dude, EJ, you stole our HV sec. I'm so sad.
My
That was
bad.
so funny.
Oh, Boney's on the
Did I
sheet.
say?
Didn't know.
Did I say at least, or did I say exactly?
He's gone. I did not say exactly. So 2 captains are going to be. So 2 captains
That
were
happened.
technically.
That happened.
We're still back. I did not say exact. I did not say at least.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the last season, well, you weren't here last time, but we do have stuff from the night. You'll
Yep.
see Neptune won 2 awards. One of them
Oh,
being
yeah.
best broadcaster.
Yup.
Technically,
Yeah, you
counts.
did.
not. He won best caster, not best broadcaster. Technically speaking, on a
What?
semantic level,
No.
but I'm going to
Bro.
give it to you. I'm going to give it
Bro.
to you. I'm
Bro.
going to give it to you.
Yo, the
Because we did
prod head
split
gives
it.
it to you. Yeah. Because
Um,
it was previously best.
It was broadcaster.
Was it best
then went to-
broadcaster?
Yes, it was broadcaster. Then we split to caster and producer. Pneumonia Pokemon best duo. They did not have. They did not.
Rob.
Round 1 of playoffs will be closer than round 2
I think
score
that-
wise.
I
I'm-
think that's not
That was-
true.
True.
I'm
Wait.
pulling it up right now.
Let me
So are we
check.
just doing
Score wise.
Wins
3-1,
versus
3-2.
I think it was.
3-1, 3-2, what?
So it's technically no. Round 2 was closer because there was a 3-0, 2. There was a 3-0, a 3-1, a 3-2, a 3-2.
Versus
round one.
a
Round one.
3-1
Versus 3-1,
and a
3-2.
3-2. So there's more, like, there's more
Oh.
deviance.
Yeah. Okay, and then Nuttier. Actually, let's see if guys sir.
Wait, didn't I have one about, like, the Guangdong Magic Tigers will go undefeated then lose in the grand finals?
Oh, Booney had
you
one.
do.
Booney had one that was a low SR captain will make it to the grand finals and lose. Right? Is that in there? War heard that and was like, "It's time for me to shine."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you
I
go,
mean,
Booney.
Sonic could have heard that and it could have been time for
Oh.
him to shine too.
I know
okay?
that happened, and
Bro,
I was like,
perfect.
if Sonic counts, like Booney's locked in. Alan says, "What about his?" I don't know what Riddle's looking at right now.
I'm moving to guess. I'm moving to guess next. I'm moving on to that.
Oh, you have a guest in a separate one?
Yes. Yak. Okay, from Nathan. Yak is gonna win OSC Season 5. That did not happen. Lambo. Rookie will win MVP. That's correct because Neptune did. The most played characters: Tracer, Lucio, Winston. On each of the roles, that is yet to be determined
The
because
world may never know.
we still have. It is going to be determined soon though, because we just want to be able to parse that information.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be able to do that afterwards. So hopefully
been
next
cooking.
time we have it. Rusty. Met will be MVP candidate for the Snickers, losing award second to Neptune. He did not lose second to Neptune. Okay, Skysir. Riddle wins the Pokemon League overall. Yet to be determined.
Yeah, he will. Don't worry.
Nope. I'm Ogre standing in the way.
I'm a Rex Cactus believer in the Pokemon League right now.
Nadir, AOC Season 6 main sport will win MVP, yet to be determined. Zom Crown will win back-to-back most KO title. That's not correct. It was Derek's Mega Latios, or Latios.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What, are the Pokemon Awards out yet?
No.
The playoffs are still going on.
Got it.
Is that everything?
Yes.
Okay. So let's just jump into our predictions. EJ, do you have any written up yet?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Okay. Give us one. We're gonna do one down the list, and we're gonna loop back around and do one down the list.
Here's one that's for next week.
Yeah.
I think the Quails and the Sea Dragons will both go 3-0 in their matches next week.
Ooh.
So this is saying week 2?
Week 2, sorry.
Quails and this. Ooh.
Okay, I'm just making
So the
sure.
Quails are playing the Cuppa, and the
We'll
Sea
both
Dragons
go
are playing the
3-0.
Lancers.
Does this imply that they are going to win 3-0, or they're going to get 3-0, or does leave it up
They are
to...
gonna win
Win 3-0.
Okay.
both games 3-0.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great prediction.
That's a good one too, because like that's one I could see happening, but I feel like that is a specific one enough that it's like kind of a hot take, you know?
Yeah. All right.
Alrighty.
I don't know the order, but I know Riddle. Are you just going down the list, or okay? We're just going down the list.
I'll just do war.
Okay. Yeah. I think this is maybe a bold one. I think that out of the 24 rookies, I think that Mardock is gonna win Rookie of the Year.
Interesting. I was also gonna pick a Rookie of the Year.
Were you guys gonna be from your team?
No.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I feel I've talked to Flambo Jambo about this. I feel really weird hyping up especially publicly. I feel weird hyping up my team publicly because it just makes me feel like I have an ego, and it's like I don't want to have an ego on my team, you know.
That's real. That's real.
Write that down. Next season, we're gonna have more rookies than this season.
Oh,
Bold. Bold.
That's a good one.
Like proportionally or number?
Numbers.
Okay,
you have
so
more than
over
24?
24.
24.
So
Oh my
it
god.
must be
We'll have 24 or more.
24.5.
I'm going to say have 24 or more.
Oh.
So you can tie. Okay.
I
Dang.
can see that.
I feel like if this season goes good, a lot of the people that are rookies, it's just going to spread like an infection.
That's a
Right?
good
You have
point.
a lot of like from
Yeah.
like Silvertalls. Was it just like Silvertalls and Tommy? I think last season
Get all the
yeah, they
BPL
brought
players in.
as well.
They brought people in.
And then it's just sort of spreading in that way. Especially they signed up early.
It's like what's the word for
Yeah,
it?
like you saw your Para, you saw your Shore, you saw your Sky.
It's like one of those
People like
trees where it's like
Mardox.
it's the like exponential, I think is the right word, where it's like you start with 2 and then it splits. Each person refers. It's like a pyramid scheme. It's the Aurora Esports pyramid scheme. It's like
And
refers to people.
I feel like especially that group in general is would be able to and down to play because they are already in like a sort of auction draft league
Yeah.
that they sort of know how it goes.
Yeah.
And they would find enjoyment in it compared to like me telling my neighbor down the street, you know.
And
Right, but
as someone who's been like in BPL, for example, and been in Aurora, I feel like they both have distinct vibes too, where it's like they're a similar format, so you don't have to worry about like the rules as much because it's still a very similar format. But I think the vibe of Aurora is a lot different than the vibe of BPL. So I think I think that is actually now that you're kind of validating that, I could see that, but I still think that's a lot of rookies.
it is a lot. It is a lot.
So
it's possible.
in before we get 17 teams next season.
All right.
I am going to. I have two right here. One of them was Rookie of the Year. I'm trying to decide. I think I'll commit to Rookie of the Year. I'll pick my own Rookie of the Year. I'm gonna say my super spicy take is I'm gonna pick Ari as Rookie of the Year.
Oh, I love that pick. They were doing good.
I've
Ari and
heard-
Silvertar's backline was looking great.
I've heard really good things about Ari. And it's like I think that's one where it's so early, and it's like a lot of times when you're looking at MVP and Rookie of the Year early, you're like, who's the highest SR player? But Ari, I think, is one of those players that's like kind of going under the radar a little bit, but I think is really good. So I think by the end of the season, the Ari stonks are going to be really high. Toon Crater says Rookie of the Year will be me. Oh my god, I forgot about Toon Crater. You're right.
Pokemon guy.
Pokemon guy.
I intentionally forgot about Toon Crater.
No,
How
he's
about that?
Toon Crater's not going to win Rookie of the Year because he's going to win MVP. How about that?
Is that another one?
No.
That's a good.
I'll bring that up later in the season. I'll save it for later. Put it in the
Okay,
little
got it,
Tupperware container.
All right. EJ, what's your list?
I think this is for the season. This Aurora Overwatch season overall. I think this season will have the most map 5s out of any Go for Watch League or Aurora season.
I like that.
Whoever has to calculate that, I am sorry.
Oh, oh no. I'm so sorry. I didn't even think of that.
I mean, what we could do is, I think there have only been 3 seasons where there have been 13. Well, there's been over. I think most of the seasons are 8 weeks. So the fact that this one is 11 weeks, like, I think it will be a lot.
It has.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of season 2 was sort of like, everyone knew the order of the teams for the most part. You know, it was sort of just set in stone.
Yeah.
You know, like. Right,
For like the power rankings.
So, I mean, season. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also just like in Hoobie 2.
Yeah.
A lot of time. But season 3, it was the Circle of Suck.
Yeah. So I could see season 3 being up there.
I'll say that to Sweet.
Yeah. So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to look at the total number of map 5s, and then probably look at map 3 and map 4, and then hopefully EJ is wrong and we can stop after those 2 seasons. But like I know season 1, and I'm pretty sure season 4 and season 5 had significantly less games overall, because not only were there only 12 teams instead of 14, but there were less weeks. So yeah, I think the main ones that should be compared to is season 3 and season 4, because I think that's the most likely one to have more map 5s. But yeah. Okay, War.
All right. This one may be in the sweep category. I don't know if I can say that yet because you guys are the ones that determine that. But write that down. The grand finals will be a rematch of a week 1 match.
Ooh.
With the same team winning that one in week 1.
Interesting.
I can see that.
It's kind of a stretch. I'm looking at.
Are you picking a specific one?
I'm looking at 2 right now.
Yeah.
I initially thought it for the Slouchers and the Sea Dragons, but Purple Apes and Quails is my next up on board there, and I think that both of those are possible.
Yeah.
Do I think that's gonna happen exactly? No, but I think it's definitely very, very possible on both sides.
I think it's gonna be the Foxies versus the Owls in the finals.
I don't know. I'm kind of a Foxy and starter, guys.
True.
I don't think
They got that War guy. I don't know if I trust him.
Yeah, he kind of smells.
True.
Especially I played with them last season. For mine, rate that down. No teams this season will go winless or undefeated.
That's a good one. That's a good. I think I've talked about this with you guys. I think this is probably the most balanced. Let me think. I think since I've joined the league, I would say that overall I feel like this is the most competitively balanced season.
I think season 3 is.
But like
I disagree.
No. Season 3 you had the top 3 teams of like the tardigrades, the vanillas.
Well, we also don't know. It's like week 1, right? But
yeah, that's
still
true.
Like
that's
eventually
true.
every team entered the Circle of Suck.
Yeah.
Right. It's not like any.
But like I mean, you look at like the vanilla. You compare the vanillas to the Sith. You know, like.
The Sith is a special case.
Yeah, but I don't think there's any special cases this season. That's what I'm saying.
We don't know.
I guess we'll find out.
I think there is.
Yeah, it's called the Foxians. That's a special case. All
Yeah.
right, Panini, what's your?
Wrecked Cactus wins Pokemon, wins the championship. I so badly want to manifest
Wait, say that
that.
again. I didn't. hear.
Wrecked Cactus
Wasn't
wins Pokemon championship.
listening.
I want to
Oh, you
manifest
wanna
that. I've mentioned this
manifest the
before.
winning a lot of stuff in
'Cause
a row or whatever.
No, he's won League of Legends Season 0 in Aurora. He's
Yep.
won 2 seasons of Overwatch and Overwatch League and in Aurora. And then if he wins Pokemon, like, potentially could be the most successful Aurora player. Charbatron is placing bets on Whale for Pokemon.
Not a bad choice.
I think the joke is that Whale is playing Nuttier too. Right?
Huh. It's like placing
Mhm.
bets on war.
Yeah.
It's just definitely gonna pan out, surely.
But yeah, I mean, I think that just about does it.
I think so.
I do think I'm going to try to be more consistent with this. I think we were pretty good last season. Try to do the podcast bi-weekly, so every 2 weeks. Next podcast we'd be doing is our 10th podcast, so I'll try to see if I can cook something up to make it special, make it a special milestone, I guess. We've already surpassed the most podcasts in Aurora history, so
Aurora,
keep the
good for you.
momentum. Yeah, keep the momentum going. But yeah, you guys have anything else?
I don't think so.
No.
I'm proud of us. We've made it this far. 10 podcasts. Next time, I'm hyped. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, thank you again for EJ for joining as a guest.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess that
Yeah,
just
it's
about
fun.
does it. I'm signing out for myself, RiddleDog, and War. Thank you guys all for watching. Have a nice night, and don't forget to tune in tomorrow to see a first week 2 game of Season 6. So we'll see you guys next time. Thanks again.